Back here with Howard Beck. So on Friday, our guy Nick right here had quite the hot take on the Warriors.
It's not a hot take.
For Andrew Wiggins.
My God.
Blistering. The take spilled over onto social media and had everybody talking this weekend.
Everyone's so mad at me.
Wiggins scored 24, though, Nick, in his Warriors debut.
Matt Barnes threatened me with physical violence over my Andrew Wiggins take.
In a loss to the Lakers, here is Wiggins after the game.
I feel like when you're losing, you know, there's going to be a little dark shadow over you. But I'm here now. You know, this is a winning culture, you know, a winning team. So hopefully people can, you know, take a different view and, you know, just watch us ball.
All right, Nick, what do you think? You expect Wiggins to actually... Okay, you're laughing, so I think...
No, I just thought it was funny. He talked about how it's different now that you're winning after a loss, but it's fine. He played well. He played very well in that game.
Do you expect him to help Clay and Steph get the Warriors back to contention, dominance, relevance, any of it?
No, and listen, Howard, you can tell me I'm wrong, but here's the thing. Nobody thought Andrew Wiggins was good 96 hours ago. Nobody. But then the Warriors trade for him, and it's as if he gets some magic fairy dust sprinkled on his head, and he's going to be a different player. We know who Andrew Wiggins is. And this idea of, oh, well, he's held up against the fact that he's #1 overall pick, and so he's judged unfairly. He's held up against his contract, so he's judged unfairly. Andrew Wiggins, as the 20th pick on a mid-level contract, does not contribute to winning. He is, people can say, oh, well, now he's not going to be asked to be the #1 option. Oh, he's going to be asked to be the 3rd option, like in 2018 in Minnesota on a good team that made the playoffs, that, according to Basketball Reference, was -10 per 100 possessions with him on the court. That year, he was 8th on the team in PER. Last year, he was 11th on his bad team in PER. We know guys like this across the league that profile out as, wow, he's going to be an awesome defender. Well, you got to try, and he hasn't shown effort on that end. Well, he's going to develop into a three-point shooter. Well, it's been 6 years, and he's 33%. So maybe the light bulb's going to turn on. I thought there was a few things, Howard, most basketball people were aligned on. One is that Andrew Wiggins does not contribute to winning. But now he's on the Warriors, so magically he will. I don't understand it. So, no, I don't think he's going to help Steph and Clay get back to an NBA Finals.
All right, so the first point I would make here, Nick, as an NBA, I don't know if I'm an NBA expert, but I covered the league for a long time. You want my NBA expertise? Here's my advice to you. Do not mess with Matt Barnes.
Okay.
Start there.
I didn't mess with Matt. Matt Barnes messed with me.
All right, Matt Barnes messes with you. Don't mess back.
Okay, fair enough.
Let it go. Second point would be this. I have seen long enough in this league where a guy can look like a bust or a washout on one team and is better somewhere else. It's not magic fairy dust that the Warriors can sprinkle on him, although they may have some of that too. I do think that a player, no matter what their talent level, and especially if there was somebody who had high expectations and high talent, high upside coming into the league and didn't quite work out, because when you get drafted high, you're a franchise savior and you got everything on you. When they go somewhere else, and you just have to play a role, it's different. It's not the same as being with a Jimmy Butler who was just imported yesterday and a Karl Anthony Towns who's still growing into who he's supposed to be. This is joining a team that went to 5 straight finals, won 3 championships, that has the best shooting backcourt in the history of the game, that has a 3rd star in Draymond Green, whatever he may be in his physical makeup by the time. But let's see what Andrew Wiggins is next to a fully healthy, recharged, and slightly retooled Warriors lineup next season. I'm not saying that it changes everything about Andrew Wiggins' resume up to this point, and I don't think the whole league has all of a sudden decided he's okay and that we should forget about Minnesota. I do think that with no pressure and no need to carry anything, we'll see a different version of him come next season.
But here's the other problem. People say they're only going to ask him to be Harrison Barnes. Okay, so let's actually remember what this Warriors team was pre-KD when it had Harrison Barnes. They almost lost to OKC. They did lose to Cleveland. And the year before, Cleveland took him 6 when the second best player is Matthew Dellavedova. And that was when Steph was unanimous MVP level Steph, not 32-year-old Steph, who we're about to see. When Draymond was Defensive Player of the Year, all everything, as opposed to 7, 7, and 7 on horrific shooting, as he is now. And listen, Draymond, I believe, is a Hall of Famer. I think Draymond should have 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I have nothing but respect for what he's accomplished. He's in a different phase of his career. The only guy who I think we should expect to be at the same level he was during that run is Clay.
Who's still coming off an injury.
We'll see when he's coming off the knee. It's a great point. And that team was barely good enough to win 1 title. Now, the next year, they looked like the greatest team I'd ever seen until the playoffs started, when the Thunder had them, and then the Cavs actually beat them. And here's the other problem. Harrison Barnes is better than Andrew Wiggins. Like, just flatly. Harrison Barnes ain't great. He's better than Andrew Wiggins. This is not... I'm not trying to kill the guy, but you said it was a hot take. I thought everyone agreed on this take. and I do believe that if there are 25 teams in basketball that if they traded for Wiggins would be mocked. The Warriors do it, and they're geniuses. If the Sacramento Kings had traded for Andrew Wiggins, we would be crushing them, killing them.
For sure.
He's this, right?
Yes, but if Andrew Wiggins were acquired by the Miami Heat, the San Antonio Spurs, there is a difference. The good franchises, the stable ones with great, strong cultures, you give them the benefit of the doubt when they get a guy who's got a little bit of the blossom off. And so Andrew Wiggins to the Warriors should be treated differently than if the Kings or the Knicks or one of the franchises that always gets it wrong had acquired him.
Well, one of the reasons the smart franchises get the benefit of the doubt is the smart franchises almost never trade for a max contract player who has never contributed to winning.
I trust Bob Myers and Steve Kerr, though.
Okay, I don't. This would be an all-time reclamation project. And the other reason I take issue with this trade is I think the Warriors just looked at it from the wrong angle. They obviously, according to the value, traded away the better player for the inferior player. That's why they got the draft pick attached to it, right? No matter what people think of D'Angelo Russell, whether his value is that of an all-star or not, it's the Timberwolves who had to attach the pick, yes, not the Warriors, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely fair.
That means that they view Russell as more valuable than Wiggins. I think that's the opposite type of trade the Warriors should be making. I think they should have waited till this offseason, take their asset D'Angelo, even if it's not a blue chip asset, pair it with whatever draft pick they have, and try to get an impact player. Try to get someone that isn't a reclamation project. Try to get someone who actually can help them next season, because they are capped out. This is going to be their team. They're at $128 million for Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond. This is going to be their squad. Their only move was trade D'Angelo and the pick, and instead they traded D'Angelo for a worse player on the same contract to get another pick? I don't understand it.
I mean, look, Nick, admittedly, I did not think they would trade him at the trade deadline. I thought they would wait to see what's available at the draft or what's available on July 1st.
You're talking about the Warriors.
Yes.
The Warriors, correct, yes. D'Angelo Russell, his market value is not high. Higher than Wiggins? Sure. And you're right to bring out the pick. And that was why they had to send, the Minnesota had to send the pick. If they had waited, though, how much better could the Warriors have done? We will never know. I don't know that they were going to get any spectacular offers, because D'Angelo Russell is also viewed with a little bit of a jaded lens around the league.
Sure.
Not as jaded as Wiggins, but still some suspicion.
I am curious, because I didn't watch. The first game without Wiggins, Timberwolves, who hadn't won in a month, what did they... Oh, they blew out the Clippers. A Clippers team that was playing quiet, too. They blew them out. That was shocking.
You don't think your Wiggins take was a hot take?
No, I thought everyone agreed. But I've turned.
I got a hot question for you. We'll talk about that in a little bit, because that's what I want to know.
Michael Rappaport's out here challenging me in a dribbling contest.
Who has better hair, Russell Wilson or the guy with hot takes? We debate.
Right through all of it. That is
quad strength right there. It's that explosive lower body.
From the Cougar?
On to the Sixers. I was mad impressed. All right, Sixers picked up a very much-needed win at home last night, albeit over the lowly Chicago Bulls. Joel Embiid had 28 points, while Ben Simmons put up a triple-double. Philly has dominated bad teams all season, probably because they're bad teams. 21-6 against teams below 500, 12-15 against teams above 500. All right, Nick, if you had to choose, would you rather build a team around Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons? Because we are getting to the point where it seems like you're now going to have to choose one or the other.
Which is crazy. If you'd have told me when there's 4 seconds left in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, and the Sixers are down 2, and Jimmy Butler is streaming up court, seemingly to either force overtime or maybe pull up, take a 3, try to win the game right there, that 9 months later, we'd be talking about breaking up the Sixers. Butler would be gone. That J.J. Redick would be gone. That now we're talking about who can you keep, Ben or Joel? I'd have said, you're crazy. Like, this is a Philly. It's going to be Philly and Milwaukee in the East for the next decade. But the way Philly has played and the lack of maturity shown by their two stars and the lack of cohesiveness with those two guys on the court at the same time makes this a legitimate question. And to me, the easy answer is I'd rather build around Embiid. I'd rather trade Simmons. I think that Embiid, while I don't think he has reached his full potential, is certainly closer.